Movement is important. Moving our body is important. But a lot of times now in 2023, at the time recording this, right? A lot of people work from home. A lot of people sit behind a desk. A lot of people are sitting at their computer or on their phone. So we have to now create ways and be mindful of ways to boost our movement.
Welcome to the Good Life.
Welcome, everybody. YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. We're back, right? Welcome. Another episode of the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, C. Muzan. I got Coach Kabi in the building. Say what's up, Coach.
What up, though? We are your uncles from another mother, your brothers behind the board. Let's go. I got to save the second part because I may have messed it up.
I think you did, but it's okay. We're getting better, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting better.
That's the name of the game, guys.
That's all it's about. It's continuing to improve. Happy to be back with you another week. Coach, how you feeling? Feeling good? How's the week?
Week is fantastic. I feel great. We are rolling on all cylinders. I appreciate you guys for joining us on Instagram. It's been a long time. You know what? We messed up. We got to apologize to you guys on Instagram. If you are listening to this, wherever you're listening to this, make sure that you follow C Muzon 1. That's CMOUZ on 1. Zion. I know you like that, right? That's ZON 1.
I like I finished that.
Zion 1. All right. And then follow me, Coach.Kabi. You know what it is. Or Kobe, Kobi. Kobe, Kabi. Just make sure you say my name. That's all it is, man. That's all it is. Coach. Call me Coach. I like that. I like when people call me Coach. Call me Coach. All right.
That's it. Instagram. We're glad to be back. For everybody else that's been continuing to check in, we appreciate you as always. And you hear us say it. If you have not done it already, go over to the Facebook group, jump in the Facebook group. That's where we are dropping new information, new content, more access to us. Again, if you're seeing this live tomorrow, we're holding another workshop, part of our mini series that we do every month, that we're diving into the fundamentals. So feel free to join us over there in our Facebook group so you can get these nuggets around health and wealth. And then you're locked in and you can stay in touch with us. We can continue to have conversation with you, answer your questions, really go down the path of making sure that you have all the tools and resources you need as a corporate athlete to take your life to the next level. So that's what we're here to do. Make sure you jump over there on Facebook and anywhere else that you're listening. Make sure you give us a like, a subscribe, leave us a comment, do something to say that you're there, because we want to engage with you, because we care about you. Right, Coach?
That's right. A click, pop, and a biggly bobbly do.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
And a biggly bobbly do. That's right. What's up Detroit, man? What's the Detroit scene looking like this past week?
Detroit scene is looking right. Listen, we had some issues here with the Detroit Lions. A few early injuries. But you know what? Since we are America's team, we are America's real team. All right. Now, I know you Dallas Cowboy lovers out there, you Dallas Cowboy fans out there, okay, are going to claim to be America's team. But, these are the characteristics of an American team. Hardworking, Detroit, not Dallas. Faces great obstacle, but yet overcomes, Detroit, not Dallas. People of ingenuity, Detroit, not Dallas. The heart of America as a whole, Detroit, not Dallas. So I don't know where y'all coming from. America's team. It's really in Detroit. And although we've already started to face some challenges, it is definitely not Philly. I don't know what people on Instagram are talking about. We're not going to put out any names here because clearly Chris has gone on here and absolutely contaminated and otherwise an amazing individual. But you know what? We'll give Philly, I'll say number 49
Stop it.
top 50 states in the United States of
Stop
America.
it. Stop it. Stop it. You're definitely not 49. So either way, shout out to Detroit though, right?
Shout out.
We love you. And again, Uncle Jalen, we're still figuring out how to donate to your
Jalen Rose Leadership Academy. All right. Right
now
there serving the people. Yeah, we're doing it. Actually, we got to do this. We got to do this. We're going to do a fundraiser for JRLL, Jalen Rose Leadership Academy, JRLA. There we go.
There we go.
JRLA. All right.
We'll
and we're going to go ahead and support. We're all about education. And quite frankly, you know, if Uncle Jalen sees this, we would love to come in, do an episode, maybe do a little workshop around money, around health for the kids, you know, give our time, you know, get to taste some of that deep dish Chicago, not Chicago, but Chicago thinks so, all right. Deep dish Detroit seafood pizza. All right.
Detroit seafood pizza. What? That's not a thing.
That is a thing. That is a thing. I'm telling you right now.
Detroit seafood pizza is a thing.
That is a thing. That is a thing.
Get out of here. Anyway, maybe it is. It's not. It's not.
It is I'm telling you right now.
Listen,
I'm going to the Yep, it is a thing, bro.
For it as we speak.
Top 10 seafood pizza spots in Detroit. There's so many of them that are good that in fact, Pizza Populous. That's what it's called.
Pizza Populous. All right.
Pizza Populous.
Shout out to that side of Detroit and your seafood pizza.
Yo, what up, Eric?
And Jalen Rose Academy, all that good stuff. But either way, into the show a little bit more. We're going to start with our segment we like to call 2 by 2.
2 by 2.
This is normally when we take a topic and then you get Kabi and I's 2-minute take on it. Today we're going to do a little bit different because we previewed this debate. We previewed this conversation in an earlier podcast where we said, hey, maybe we need to talk about the top 5 dual athletes of all time, right? The athletes that play 2 sports and excelled at both of those sports. Let's get a top 5 list because we're curious to see kind of where we stand with this. So I don't know Kabi's list. I don't think he knows my list. We're going to start with the top 5. No particular order, or is this a 1 to 5 for you?
Oh, we're no particular order. We'll let you off the hook.
Okay, we'll let me off the hook. We'll let you off the hook.
We'll let you off the hook.
Let you off the hook. So give us the rundown of your top 5 all-time dual athletes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know, this has been a long time coming. My list will certainly be better than Chris's. In fact, if you're watching this live, if you're on Instagram, go ahead and let us know which list is better. All right. If you're watching this live, let us know which list is better here. Okay. Number 5, coming in at number 5, the great Jim Brown, one of the best running backs of all time, and also a phenomenal lacrosse player. All right. Jim Brown was so good. You know, he till this day, right? Till this day, Jim Brown, anybody associated with Jim Brown doesn't have to buy a drink in Cleveland, right? So shout out Jim Brown. Number 4, Jim Thorpe. Oh, you ain't know I was coming with that old school, did you? Jim Thorpe. Now I remember reading a sports book when I was very young, and I remember thinking, who is this Jim Thorpe guy? And I looked up his resume, and this dude is beyond impressive. And you should look it up too if you don't know, right?
What's wild? Let me interrupt you. What's wild?
You're gonna interrupt my 2 by 2? What is this?
This is okay, going off.
Go ahead.
There's a city right next to where I live named after Jim Thorpe. It's called Jim Thorpe. Back to you.
Hembo, we gotta find a way to discipline this man for interrupting my 2x2 with this pointless stat.
That was a
All
great
right, with
stat.
this pointless
There's
stat.
a city named after the guy. Anyway, keep going.
Number three, as you know, now you got me all backwards in here. All right. Number 4, Jim Thorpe, gold medalist, American football player, an amazing athlete. You're gonna be shocked by this one, bro. You're not gonna get this one right. Number 3, Cal Hubbard. Oh. Only person to be both in the MLB and the NFL Hall of Fame.
Ooh, that's a good one, man.
Let's go ahead and close that case right there. Number 2, we have, and this one is, it's really a question of preference in the top 2. All right. The list is fluid. It's a question of preference in the top 2. And number 2 for me has got to be Bo Jackson. Right? The man that sold us the cross trainer because he was a dual sport athlete. Right? Not only was he a dual sport athlete, he could have been a tri-sport athlete, but we know about his crazy numbers in the MLB, right? And we also know about what he did to people on the football field. So much so that he was a cheat code in a video game because he was so good. All right. And number 1 for me, y'all can argue, y'all can debate, but this is my list, so I don't care. Okay. Number 1 on my list is primetime Deion Sanders. One of the best, if not the best. Actually, I'll go ahead and say the best cornerback of all time and a phenomenal baseball player. I'll go ahead and rest my case there. Go ahead. What you got?
Very nice. We have some similarities, obviously, because there's not a lot to this list, but we have some similarities. So let's start with the similarities so we don't have to duplicate. Because it's no specific order also, right? No specific order. I got prime time, right? Deion's up there for sure.
Go ahead and steal my list.
Listen, not stealing it. This is just right. These are some facts. This is some agreeable points. Bo Jackson, I got in there, right? Just again, outstanding talent, outstanding athlete. I also had Jim Brown in there.
Wow.
Yeah. So 3, right? 3 out of the 5 we agree on. But then I went a little bit more new school.
Wait, I'm gonna let you finish. But young Dougal went to Jim Thorpe High School.
He did. I saw
that. That's a real fact. All right, let's move on.
And what do you mean? There's a city named. Okay, anyway, we're gonna keep moving. Shout out to Dougal going to Jim Thorpe High. I'm glad he has a high school named after him also, as well as a city. Anyway, so those 3 were in agreement. Prime time. Bo Jackson, Jim Brown. Here's my other 2. Kyler Murray. How about Kyler Murray? Right? Think about this. I don't know if you know this. He got signed by the A's in 2018 out of school. And then the next year is the number 1 NFL draft pick. So in the same span of a year, he could have been playing at the heights of both of his professions at both of those sports. Got Kyler in there. Last one, number 5. Yeah, it's my 2x2. Shut it. Thank you. Julius Peppers. How about Julius Peppers over here? Julius Peppers, again, this guy, athlete. No, he's a Pro Bowler, but he put up some points playing for UNC, right? UNC basketball, high level D1 basketball. I put him up there in that top 5. That rounds out my top 5. We're good to go on the 2x2, right? Let's move on.
Are you serious? Kyler Murray? You talk about Kyler Murray? The man that has to have a clause in his contract.
Listen,
that he has to study a minimum of 4 hours a week as an NFL quarterback. The man never played in MLB, by the way. Never played.
Yeah, but he got signed to.
He got signed.
Which means he could have. Kyler's a reach like Pat Bev on defense. All right, Dougal. He's not a reach. I really believe
That's a good one.
I really believe it. But anyway, that rounds out the top 5.
That's insane. What about runners? Oh, That's a good
Oh,
question. Well, first of all, drop on here. If you're live with us, go ahead and drop on here. Who had the best list? You can go ahead and spell that name, KOBI.
yeah, right.
And
Listen,
also
off the
drop your
beaten
top
path.
two dual athletes. Drop
Mm.
your who is your top drop? Which one do you disagree with or disagree with? You can put it in the comments or you can put it in live if you're live with us right now. And runners. I mean, there are a lot of runners, but I think the issue with runners, and then we move on. The issue with runners here is that you run in all sports, like it's kind of tough. I think people kind of look down on it a little bit. But if you have a runner, I'd love to know.
That's right. But running is, I don't know. It's definitely a sport. It's definitely a sport, right?
Oh,
And
there's no
definitely,
question. It's one of the oldest sports.
absolutely, absolutely. Why is that important, by the way? Because we talk to corporate athletes. We know, right? Coach and I both understand, right, that we are out there. A lot of you are out there continuing to work in your corporate job as entrepreneurs in your work life and your family and all those things. And we take this approach to calling, ourselves corporate athletes or entrepreneurial athletes because we train in the same ways. We need similar mindsets, right? There's a lot of things that are similar in that space, right? So when we brought up this conversation about dual athletes, because I think we were talking about Steph Curry, right, excelling in golf, it's really just a mindset, right? And it's the mindset that we talk about. If you're going to be a champion in one thing, you can be a champion in another thing. If you have the discipline in one area, you can have the discipline in the other area. Very similar to why we talk about health and wealth here on this podcast. So it's always good to talk athletes, but let's dive into today's show. What we're talking about today, we're giving you guys 5 tips, 5 ways to boost your movement while working from home, right? In that same vein of being an athlete, movement is important. Moving our body is important. But a lot of times now in 2023, at the time recording this, right? A lot of people work from home. A lot of people sit behind a desk. A lot of people are sitting at their computer or on their phone. So we have to now create ways and be mindful of ways to boost our movement while we're working from home. Coach, what have you been seeing before we dive into the list? Like what have you been seeing? How important is this? What ramifications does not doing this movement have on us? What changes in our society? Give me like the overview.
Yeah, this is really, really important. And how this conversation came to be, so that I can set it up a little bit here for us, is that um, Chris and I, along with our honorary member of the show here, Young Dougal, are actually on a little bit of a personal challenge to up our steps, ups our movement, if you will, during this for 30 days. So we're doing that. And we all came to a realization of, one, how little we move, particularly since we've started working from home, but also even at the office, right? How little we move. I think the number is like less than 5,000 steps, if not less than that. And walking, I think, is one of those things in the health space that's grossly overlooked. I see a lot of people who, are eager to, quote unquote, go for a run. I'm like, well, first and foremost, running is awesome. But if you are running with improper form, you usually end up hurt. If you are running on surfaces that aren't meant to, you usually end up hurt. If you have other issues, usually end up hurt. Walking is grossly undervalued in terms of what it provides as cardiovascular health, in terms of what it provides for your lifting up your mood, in terms of what it provides for giving you a time to be in a meditative state, right? In terms of, and if walking, if done properly, actually reinforces our body's ability to maintain a structural integrity. There's so many benefits. We were literally made to walk, right? We're literally made to walk. We're literally made to do those sort of activities. And I'm harping in on walking because that's the primary way, but movement in general. So I think we're missing a huge component. And as society continues to move in this direction, meaning we're working from home, we're behind a computer more, we're stationary and sitting more, it's going to be that much more important for us to inject a good amount of movement into our lives. And we found that that can be very difficult for some people. So today we're talking about some of the ways that we found personally to elevate and to increase the amount of movement that we're getting throughout the day, particularly through steps, because we can track that. But you can also get it in a number of ways.
That's so good. That's so good. And yes, this is what could be myself and young Dougal have been doing for the past 3 weeks, basically, is getting out there and being mindful of our steps, being mindful of our movement, um, and the journey, right? Like just being able to fit it in, being mindful of it. So you take time out of your day, you start to, and this is some stuff we're going to start talking about, right? You start doing different things while you are walking, right? But really just getting the movement in place has been incredibly beneficial over these past 3 weeks. So that's why, again, we wanted to share some of these tips with you guys. All right. You want to start us off? What's
number one on that list is, first and foremost, as we talk about everything here on the show, is awareness and being intentional. I think starting off, and Chris can speak for himself, but starting off is just simply realizing that, oh wow, I'm not moving as much as I thought I was, right? Or maybe I am moving a lot, right? It's kind of assessing what is the lay of the land right now. How active am I actually during the day? And then setting an intention to be more active in general. So I think bringing that top of mind allows us to then do something about it, right? To tweak. So yeah, I'll say that's the first step. Set an intention to be more active.
I agree. I think that's huge. Just the intentionality whenever you make a decision to do anything, I think is the first step. It's this first step with your money, right? It's the first step when you decide to, hey, I'm really gonna hit my money goals this year. I'm really gonna save some money or have that investment or whatever it is. The first step is now being intentional about where your money's going, the small things, right? And so I think when we started this journey of, okay, let's put more movement in. Let's get to that 10,000 steps. Let's get to 15,000, 20,000 steps. Like, let's push ourselves to walk. The first thing is like, okay, well, where does this fit in? How do I fit this in? How can I put this into my routine? And just being mindful of it. And I think that part of just being mindful around it is, like you said, the first step to like putting something back into your calendar, something back into your schedule. So that's where to start.
And then while you're doing that, I think it's very important to go ahead and find a way to track. Right? If you're not tracking your money, if you're not tracking how your health is going, if you're not tracking any of that stuff, how do you know where you are and how do you know when to make any sort of adjustments? Right. So if you're traveling somewhere and you have no idea where you're going and you also don't have a map and you also don't have anything, how do you know when you're close and when you've gotten there? So
that's right.
Most of us have phones that have the capability to do this. So it's not really about going to grab something new. Just maybe for me, honestly, guys. So I've been a health coach for a long time. Honestly, I did not open the Apple Health app until like this year. So I did not open it because I didn't use it. I didn't pay attention to those aspects. I used other things. So I opened, I'm like, man, there's a lot of data here, right? And you can grab a lot of data that way. There's also other ways. I can maybe briefly speak on them real quick because I'm kind of in the field. You can use, if you want to go really fancy and you're top, sort of very performance focused, you can go with a Whoop, right? A little Whoop goes on your wrist. Whoop is not paying us. However, if any representatives from Whoop would like to reach out, we will gladly have a conversation. All right. However, you may not like what I'm about to say. I like the Whoop in the sense that it goes well on the hand. There's a ton of data. What I don't like about the Whoop is the way that they interpret and display and give you that data to consume. I think it's a little convoluted. It's a little tough to follow along, but I like it as well. I'm also thinking about trying an Aura ring. Tracks your sleep, tracks your steps, etc. Aura, I think. Aura.
Aura.
AUR.
First, I
Oh,
thought you said an oral ring. I was like, that can't be right.
that's not a thing, Chris. That's
I
not
don't
a
know.
thing.
I don't
That's
know.
not a thing.
I'm yeah.
Why would you? Oh, it's OURA. It's an
See?
aura ring. It's just a ring.
Okay.
All right. That tracks a lot of that stuff. And I like that a little bit. I like the concept of that at least a little bit better. I have some clients who have used it and really like it. There's also obviously a Fitbit, like the OG, that really like kind of catapulted this wearable tech industry. Um, I mean, I haven't personally used one, but it's all right in my opinion. There's the Garmin if you're a runner, right, and you want to do split times, etc. You can go in that direction. Um, I'm sure there are others as well. There's one by Amazon. I forget what it's called, but Amazon has a device. Um, it's just based on what you want. And we at Ganots are also coming up with a device for those that like to wear a
Let's
stylish
go.
watch.
Let's
All
go.
right. And those that like to wear a stylish watch, but also want to track some of this health data. All right. So keep
Mm.
an eye out. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be making some announcements out there. That's GANANCE
Put it up
dot
on
com.
screen. Put it up on screen,
Yeah.
Embo. Put it on screen.
Yeah. .com. Y'all go ahead and put your pre-orders in and let them know Coach sent you. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? I don't know if there's a place for you to say that, but message me and let me know you did that, and I'll be sure to get you a little something extra. All right. But you know, that's for those that like watches, they're into watches, they like wearing nice watches around, but they also like their health data.
Yeah.
And they don't want to wear an ugly watch just to get the health data. So,
Listen,
you know,
this
coming out
health.
with this.
Yeah, my fault. This health data is important, right? But it's all new, right? It's all like we're just like you said, you've been in the health space for some time, and you're just now opening up, the Apple stuff. By the
Health
way,
app.
do you have an Apple Watch too? Are
I
you
used to have an Apple Watch.
okay?
So I have used Apple Watch for an extended period of time. Obviously, works really well with the Apple infrastructure, etc.
Mm.
I just think it's ugly. If Apple wants to change my mind, I do have a number, and I'll gladly listen.
Understood. Understood.
I can be bought, guys. I can be bought. Just got to be the right number.
But this whole tracking it definitely is an important step. It was a struggle for me at the beginning, just not used to tracking anything, right? So obviously a little transition into being able to keep my phone on me, or right, have a device. And by the way, all those devices that could be mentioned, right, all of them I'm sure will do the trick for you just figuring out how many steps you're taking or what your movements like. I'm sure they get more and more complex and more data, but just to have something that you can just look at visually to say, oh, okay, that's where I was at today. Okay, that's what it felt like today, or that's what it felt like to go this amount of steps. That's really important. Again, same thing with your money. It's just important to be able to look at, okay, that's where the money went last month. Okay, that's how much went to Amazon. It's just important to be able to see it. So that's why this will help you in the movement side too.
Yeah, big time, big time. And if you have any questions, you can always get in touch with me. Again, I'm more than happy to give my opinion on these devices if you're looking to get one. So the third thing I'll put out there is habit stacking.
Mm.
So I recommend habit stacking for any and all new habits. If you already have something that you enjoy doing, it's good to pair that up with something, a new habit, right? So maybe you give your mom a daily call, right? So one of the things I do, for example, is I make a lot of calls on walks, right? I'll try to move as many calls on walks as possible. I try to stack up multiple calls back to back that I can take on a walk. Doesn't require me to be on Zoom, and I'll walk and have those conversations. And I find it's very easy to can kind of zone out and really, one, I'm moving, so I can pay attention to what's being said, but I'm also outside. I get sun, I get my steps in, I get active and moving. So that's been a major trick for me, is to lining up calls. And maybe you're not on calls all day, but line up personal calls after work and walk if you can. Line up, you know, maybe it's before you go to work. In that case, maybe people aren't up yet. As I usually tend to get up early, but listening to books is one of the things that I like to do as well. Books and podcasts, listening to podcasts, listening to books. So that's where I do a ton of my downloading of things that I want to be aware of, but I don't necessarily want to sit there and read. All right. So if I want to run through a book or a presentation or some of that nature, I take it on a walk in the morning. Yeah. So habit stacking, stack some of those things that you want to. I would not stack a hard habit and a hard habit just by itself. You got to put something sweet on there. A little bit of sugar helps it go down, right? You got to put something in there that you don't mind, right? It doesn't mean you have to absolutely love it, but something in there you don't mind. This is why a lot of people, you don't need to listen to music to work out, by the way, but a lot of people do it because they enjoy music and it makes the workout a little bit better, right?
That's funny. That's funny that you would say that, because what I was going to say to this is I've been using those walk times specifically for like download. Like that's why not having my phone on me in the beginning was different, because normally when I'm out and walking and present in nature or wherever I am, I'm actually trying to disconnect to all things and just be in my thoughts, right? And just be with myself. Every once in a while now I will add a sermon, I'll add a book, I'll add a podcast, I'll add something to the walk. But I am the guy at the gym that doesn't listen to music. I listen to audiobooks, right? Like I don't listen to any music. And I do like music to a degree. It's just I rather just always be listening to something that's downloading something in me or giving me some thoughts. And a lot of times some of it becomes white noise, right? Like the book I'm listening to right now, the creature from Jekyll Island, right, talks about Fed and right all the stuff, money and some of the stuff, right? Just I might zone out, like I might not even remember what I was listening to, but it's there, and I rather that over some hard drums or some hard hitting beat or something like that, just to get my blood going. But the habit of personal growth, personal development is what I choose to put into my walks. But for everybody, right? Like as you're again thinking of how to put this movement in, adding a habit that you like on top of that is going to be important. So
right. We have our live audience here going, dang, I need some violence in my ears to work out. So you can use it for different times,
Dougal's got that aggression. He's just
that's
like,
right.
I'm trying
to
gotta get these weights.
Sometimes I listen to I may mispronounce this, but binaural, right? 40 hertz binaural beats. I believe that's what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. But very low meditative music, and I've had amazing workouts to that. So find what works for you and what allows the time to maybe go by a little bit. I wouldn't say necessarily go by quicker, but allows you to enter flow state quicker. I think that's really what the key is how do you enter flow state?
For sure.
So. And number 4, listen, we're coming here. We're cutting the fluff. We're not putting any type of noise anywhere around you guys. We're giving you the good stuff. So we're just going right through it. Number 4 is find a community, create community to do this. If you know this is something you want to do, but you need some extra support, create community with friends, create community with family, create community with coworkers, create community with neighbors, right? And you can even create community with a coach. Right. That's never a bad thing to do. So creating community to help keep you accountable and to support you and to pat your back when you do something well and to go ahead and give you a kick in the rear end when you're slacking. Whatever you need, create that community, and you'll be surprised how many people around you actually want that community as well. But maybe they're overloaded, or they're overstimulated, or they're they're just busy, right? So they don't have the ability or the space, the mental space to do that. And you could be leading while being led.
That's really good. It's really good. I mean, this just goes without saying that like community is needed in everything, right? Like fellowship is needed in everything. Like being together is how you get to grand places. So the community part's been important for us, right? It's been important in all the times when you're pushing yourself and you just, might have a day where it doesn't go the way you want it to, or right, you didn't fit it in, or right, whatever circumstances are. It's good to still just have a group of people there that are like, hey, let's pick it up. We got it tomorrow, right? You're still seeing other people do work. So I think there's power in numbers. These are all things that we know. These are all things that you guys know, but we just want to remind you, right? Because again, whenever, especially if you're trying to start something new, or right, pick up a new habit, or right, put something new into your routine, we got to make it easy for yourself. And one of the best ways to make it easy is being accountable, being in community, being in relationship with other people that are headed in the same direction as you. It's important, so you don't feel isolated and lonely and on the road by yourself, and easy to give up, easy to quit, easy to not do what you said you were going to do for yourself, right? Those are all real things that tempt us. Again, I keep making these parallels, but this is similar in your finances, right? Again, the reason why you keep maybe making the same mistakes is because you don't have anyone holding you accountable. A lot of like the clients that we work with, one of the things that they inevitably say is, man, if I didn't have to have this meeting with you, I probably wouldn't have done this. Right. Like if I didn't, if I knew, I had this meeting coming up, right, I probably wouldn't have done this thing. So at the end of the day, having someone hold you accountable or just be there to just talk it through, to have community, it's incredibly important in reaching the goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Could not agree more. And funny enough, and while we do the show, I actually get this on the health side as well.
Mhm.
I had to get my workout in because I knew I was going to be talking to you, right?
Exactly.
I had to go ahead and do these things because I knew you'd be on me.
That's
But
how
a lot
people
of,
are.
and it is, and you know what? Put those things in place if you know that to be true. Um, Number five for me kind of brings everything together, and it is mindset. It is mindset. Continue to check your mindset. Where's your focus? What's important? Right. We can very easily miss the point of what it is that we're doing in the first place. So, for example, we can easily miss the tracking is great, but we can easily miss the point and start thinking in like, oh gosh, steps. So gosh, steps. Okay, well, what is the point of those steps? Why are we doing this in the first place? It's not simply to calculate steps, right? And this, quite honestly, we can take this in multiple areas of life. This, for me, goes with let's think about tracking. Let's think calories, right? It can go in that direction as well, where people become overly obsessed with calories and they miss the entire point of why we started to track calories in the first place, right? Grades. All right, if you're a student, and I was a student, it starts to become about the letter grade, the number grade, and fighting teachers for little nits, that, and the third, just so you could get a better grade. But did you understand the topic? All right. Did you take in the point of that chapter or the point of that lesson or the point of that thing that you were doing? Or were you doing it to get the grade and then to move on? This is our school system isn't going to do it for us. All right. I mean, you can go back to a previous episode. We talked about education quite a bit and our school system and what needs to change, but they're not going to necessarily do those things for us. So we've got to do it for ourselves in training our mindset.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Right. Like that is just it all. And like you said, it brings it all home because mindset is everything. Just understanding that like the reasons that we do this is so that we can continue to grow in the areas that we need to grow to design our ideal life, design our ideal health, design our ideal financial life, right? So it really is all about our mindset, right? It's all about how we're thinking about things. And the more, right, this is something that some people might follow us on our morning mindset call. I say all the time, if you change your thinking, you change your life, right? So if you change how you think about something, you can see that outcome change. And so when we're starting a new habit, right, when we're again promoting and boosting our movement and now doing things different in our schedule, well, we have to think about things differently, right? We have to think about like why we're doing something. And then again, all these tips that we're adding in, making sure that we're mindful of these things, and it changes our outlook, it changes our mindset so we can get new results, because that's what we want, right? We want new results. If you're not used to moving from home, well, we want new results. We want to move our body. We want to make sure that we are taking time for the things that are most important in our life, that we value the most, aka our health and our finances, guys, and the other things, right? Your relationships and all the other stuff that kind of pops in there. But
Of course, of course, of course, of course. I always factor that under health. So for me, it's all covered. I always factor seven areas of health for me. We could talk about that in a different day, but relationships is certainly one of them. It's tough to be in good health when you have no good relationships
very
or
true.
your key relationships in your life are toxic.
That's
All right,
right.
so very, very tough. But yeah, that's why I think we cover most, if not everything. So as we see moves on, and you can go ahead and follow the man on Instagram, see Muzion one.
I should put that in there. I should put another I in there somewhere.
Yeah. Make sure you follow. You can find us on Instagram, on YouTube. We're making a concerted effort to grow our YouTube and also our Facebook group to give you guys a chance to really get we give out the good stuff here too, but to really get in touch with us, right? To ask questions, to be in community. You might find somebody in the Facebook group, and that's going to help support and encourage and push you on your health and wealth journey for sure. Actually, it's something we're going to encourage quite a bit moving forward.
Right.
But guys, make sure you touch base with us. LinkedIn, we're all over the place. But as we wrap it up, OG, what are you taking away from this episode? Yeah, you like that right there, right? You like that pause right there. That's right. That's good radio, baby.
It's good pregnant pause there. I like it. I like the drama, the suspense. What are the takeaways from today? So I'll let you obviously run back through the 5 things that we went through. But in all honesty, again, just really being mindful and making sure that you are intentional about putting in movement, putting in good things into your life, regardless of your circumstance, regardless of working from home, regardless from the weather, regardless of any of the things that you might see as obstacles. There are always ways to continue to get to our goals, to do the things that we want to do and need to do for our health or for our financial life. So I'll let you read off those 5 again, but the big takeaway is just making sure that we are intentional about changing some of these behaviors and putting this movement in.
The 5 places we want to look in terms of increasing or injecting more movement into our lives. Number 5 is mindset. It's very easy to miss the point. Keep the point in mind. Number 4 is to find community to support, encourage, and push you during that process. You can apply this to pretty much anything else as well. Number 3 is the habit stack, right? If you don't enjoy it, add it. Add something that you already enjoy to it. If you do enjoy it, add something that you don't enjoy to it to get a little bit of sugar, right? A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Not actually sugar. It's a figure of speech, guys. Come on now. All right. So number 2, use track, right? We have to track so we know what's going on. You don't have to track always, but at least when you're starting out, so you can get a good idea of what's happening. And then, maybe you can stop tracking if you want. Number 1 is to be intentional and making it a part of your routine.
There we go.
Guys, hopefully you got some value from that. And as always, make sure that you connect with us in all those spaces. We'll be everywhere. And join us next week live on Instagram, live on LinkedIn, all over YouTube, live as well. And we'll keep bringing the fire. And I'll make sure I keep Chris here and tamed as much as possible here.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Until next time. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Good Life.
If you enjoy this episode, please take a moment to subscribe and like our channel.
If you have any feedback or suggestions for future episodes, please leave us a comment down below.
If you're listening to the podcast audio version, we appreciate you just as much. Thank you for tuning into the Good Life Show.
We believe that everyone has the potential to live their best life, and we hope our show helps you get that one step closer to achieving your goal.
If you know someone who would benefit from our show, please share it with them, and thank you for your continued support.
That's it for another week's episode here on The Good Life. We'll see you next week for another inspiring conversation.
Welcome to the good life.